Yeah. Right. So, first question is about overall how was the paper? Largely it was climatology, right? So how was the questions? How were the questions? Good, moderate, easy, hard, difficult? Moderate, easy to moderate, right? So first is consider the following statement regarding temperature inversion. Discuss in class what happens. What is the situation? Right. So cooler air is trapped below the warmer air. Second, commonly observed during winter night, clear sky, cloudless sky basically require. Then we have facilitate the dispersion of pollutant in urban area. Correct or false? False. Okay. So what's correct option? One. That means this B first. So first is B. Second, convectional rainfall occurs primarily in polar area. No, okay, because it is heat-based tropical equatorial region. Orographic rainfall is caused by mountains forcing moisture to rise. Right. So B again. Okay, correct answer. B only two. Layers of atmosphere, radio signals. D ionosphere. Sirocco, Mistral, contact. Sirocco, Mistral. Then we have Bora. How many are cold local wind? Which are cold? Bora and Mistral. So B. With reference to cyclones, tropical cyclone, warm ocean. We have discussed sea surface temperature requires more than 27-28. Extra tropical, that is temperate cyclone, are associated with westerlies. Right. Third, eye of cyclone has low pressure and high. No. Okay. Eye is the calmest zone basically. Wind movement is around the eye. Around the eye, you have the strong wind movement. Within the eye, what do you have? Right. So that is wrong. Yeah, many of you would have made this mistake because when you talk about eye, we think that you have wind movement there. But inside eye, what do you have? Calm zone. Okay. The calmest part. If someone asks you which is the safest part to be in the cyclone, if you are thrown, what part? Eye. Okay. So which is the correct answer? 1 and 2. A. Consider the following statement regarding global pressure belt. The equatorial low pressure belt, also referred as doldrum, we have discussed. Subtropical high pressure belt are called as associated descending air and calm condition, right? That is correct. Descending air, that's why you have high pressure. Calm condition here means stable atmosphere. That means you do not have cloud formation, rainfall, and all this. That means what is the correct option? Both. 1 and 2. What is subtropical high pressure belt referred as also? Like equatorial low pressure belt is called as doldrum. What do you call subtropical high pressure belt as? The term that we have used for that also. Horse latitude. Right, horse latitude. Which of the following factors influence the distribution of temperature on Earth? All four. Human activities also. What they are asking? Distribution of temperature. Global warming is what? Anthropogenic, human-led. Right. So all the four human activities. C. Then these land from when valley glaciers moves downhill, glacier deepens, widens, straightens, pre-existing land U-shaped valleys in the glacier. This is this definition of fjord. Okay, fjord you will find basically glacier cause erosion. After that glacier retreat during the warming phase. So valley created remain there. And during warming phase what happens? Sea level rises. So sea level enters or sea basically enters into these valleys, creating a kind of steep sided valley where you have seawater. So fjord, classic definition of fjord. What you had mentioned Sark, some of you? Right. Sark is a headland. This is in the coastal area. Atmosphere is primarily composed of nitrogen, oxygen, and argon. Ozone layer is primarily found in troposphere. So, what is the correct option? A, only one. It's found in the stratosphere. Then we have the which of the following statement is correct with reference to western disturbances? They are shallow cyclonic depressions originating over the eastern Mediterranean Sea. Correct. We have discussed that in the time of northeast monsoon. Western disturbances are basically brought in by the subtropical westerly jet stream. And where is moisture taken from? Mediterranean Sea. And then I told you that it comes to Himalayas, there you have orographic rainfall. So winter rainfall is caused by this western disturbances. And it is beneficial for which crop? Rabi crop. We have discussed wheat sowing. Okay, it is hard. Impacted by this. Then increase in prevailing night temperature generally indicate increase in the prevailing night temperature generally indicates an advance in the arrival of these cyclonic disturbances. Why? Why it is so? Okay, this is here you have to use the concept of temperature inversion. Okay, what we have learned there. In temperature inversion, what kind of sky require? Cloudless sky. Why? Because if clouds are present, they trap the heat. If they trap the heat, temperature would be higher on the surface. So what these depressions are bringing? Clouds. So if the clouds are being brought toward India, they will trap the heat. So in night time, what would you experience? Right, so that is the reason, mainly because clouds are brought by these western disturbances, temperature increases, okay, and that is why it is arrival of this and indication of this arrival. So what is the correct option? All the three, 1, 2 and 3. Then regarding anticyclones, we have discussed anticyclones are associated with which kind of weather? Stable weather, clear sky, dry condition, because no cloud formation, no condensation, no rainfall. Northern hemisphere, wind in anticyclone, yesterday we have discussed, rotate clockwise, while in the southern hemisphere they rotate anti-clockwise or counterclockwise. Both the statements are correct. Right? In northern hemisphere, cyclone in anti-clockwise, anticyclone in clockwise direction. So C. Then we have the extratropical cyclone again can form over both land and ocean. Correct or incorrect? Correct. Okay. Temperate cyclone can develop over both land and ocean. Generally move from west to east. Right. We have discussed westerlies belt you have here. Extratropical cyclone rotate in an anti-clockwise direction in northern hemisphere. True or false? Correct. Right. So all three. No matter which cyclone you're talking about, extratropical or tropical, all cyclones in northern hemisphere would rotate in anti-clockwise, southern hemisphere in clockwise direction. When you have anticyclone, reverse. Corries, Hanging Valley, Arete. How many of them were given? Yesterday we have discussed all three, right? What is the correct answer? All three. Okay, Hanging Valleys, Corries, Aretes, all of them are glacial landform. Regions have isolated residual hill. This I told you example in class of this Ayers Rock. Uluru Rock you have in Australia, okay, while discussing, I don't remember where exactly, but we have discussed about this. So, what is the correct answer? Inselberg, okay, the example of Inselberg. Basically, Inselberg is made up of hard rock, resistant rock, which erodes at very, very slow rate. Surrounding areas, you have soft rock, though they erode at very fast rate. So, what kind of structure you will find? A small hill, and then all around you will have plain kind of structure. So, Ayers Rock in Australia, so Inselberg it is an example of. Cirque yesterday we have discussed. Cirque or Corries, both are same. Then consider the following statement regarding incoming solar radiation insolation. Insolation received by Earth is more at perihelion than at aphelion. True, because perihelion Earth is closest to the sun, so insolation would be highest. The distribution of insolation over Earth's surface is influenced by latitude, atmospheric composition and the angle of incidence of sunlight. Correct or wrong? Correct. Okay, so both are correct. 16. Summers are hot and dry, winters are mild and wet. Again, this is a repetition of last week. Vegetation consists of drought-resistant shrubs, small broadleaf trees, scattered grassland. The reason is known for, you not even have to know this. If you know this third statement, you should be able to say which region we are talking about. Mediterranean region. Okay, so Mediterranean climate. Okay, 16. B. All of these are characteristics of Mediterranean climate zone. Distribution between weather and climate. Distinction between weather and climate. Weather refers to the average atmospheric condition of an area over a minimum period of 35 years. True or false? No. Weather is short term. Okay, daily basis changes you have. This is the definition of climate overall. Climate is never static and can vary tremendously over a small area at a given time. No. Okay, that is characteristic of weather. The climate of temperate latitude is generally far more variable than that of tropics. That is correct. Okay, tropical area, equatorial area, they have less variation. Insolation is not that much changing. So 1 and 2 is wrong, 3 only. So B 417. Then carbon dioxide is transparent to incoming solar radiation but opaque to outgoing terrestrial radiation. Okay, we have discussed incoming short wavelength solar radiation is able to pass through troposphere and outgoing terrestrial radiation is trapped. That is why temperature decreases as you move from surface to the top of troposphere. Water vapor decreases with altitude and is highest in warm, wet, tropical region. Correct. Okay, so 1, 2, both. C. This is simple atmospheric layer. Troposphere contains ozone layer. No, stratosphere. Temperature decreases at the rate of this. Temperature in the stratosphere increases. Mesosphere temperature reaches to minus 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, true. Ionosphere contains electrically charged particle and reflect back radio waves. So how many pairs are correct? Only two pairs. Third and fourth are correct pair. So B would be right answer. This simple thunder cloud. Okay, nothing more to even study here. Cauliflower shape we have discussed. Anvil shape it forms. So cumulonimbus cloud form in the cold front or in thunderstorm or in tropical cyclone also. As the other reason, troposphere is thickest at the equator and thinnest at the pole. Correct. Okay. Then heat is transported to great height by a strong convectional current at the equator. Right. So three regions we have discussed in class. What is the region? Convectional current. Second is the gravitational force, and third is the centrifugal force. So A. Then the Earth receives maximum insolation when it is at perihelion on 3rd of January. Right, Earth is farthest from the sun at aphelion on 4th of July, correct. Annual variation in solar output significantly affect daily annual variation in solar output significantly affect daily weather changes on Earth's surface. No. Okay, aphelion, perihelion regarding it is talking about, so significant effect is not there, minor effect is there. Effect is largely because of other factors, not because of this changes in perihelion and aphelion. Other factors are more strong. So 21st? 21st A is correct. Right, because reason explains correctly the assertion. So what is the correct option here? 22 A. Then we have 23. Consider the following statement about atmospheric heating process. Conduction is important in heating the lower layer of atmosphere. Yes, right, because we have discussed surface, if it is hot, air above it becomes hot. If surface is cold, air above it becomes cold. Why? Because they are conduction, understand, when two bodies are in contact and the heat is being transferred, what do you call it as? Conduction process. The same way the lower layer of atmosphere is gaining heat. Second is convection involves vertical heating of atmosphere, it is confined to troposphere. That is also correct as such. What they are asking, however? Incorrect. What is correct answer? D, neither one two. Then inversion again occurs when the normal lapse rate is reversed and Earth becomes cooler than the air above, right? Simple definition. Second, a long winter night with clear skies and still air create ideal condition as heat radiates off during the night. Okay, so we have discussed the conditions there. We have mentioned 6 conditions. These are one of them. So what is the correct option? A. Both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A. Then again simple convectional rainfall. Convergence of two different air masses, right or wrong? Wrong.
It is
Okay.
intense heating.
Intense heating. So
Cyclonic and
yeah,
convectional are big.
yeah. They are 1 and 3 are interchange. Second, however, is correct. So how many pairs are correct match? Only one pair. Okay. So A is the right option. Then planetary wind. Westerlies blow with great force and regularity in the northern hemisphere than in southern hemisphere. This we have studied that in southern hemisphere you have lack of landmass. Okay, uniform sea surface. That is why westerlies blow in southern hemisphere at greater force. Coriolis force deflect wind to the right in northern hemisphere. Right. So northern hemisphere always right. Keep in mind. Trade winds blow from the subtropical high pressure belt toward equatorial low pressure. Right. Northeast trade wind, southeast trade wind. So, so B we can say is the option, correct option. Then again same, doldrums, horse latitude, equatorial belt, high pressure belt located near equator, true or false? Low pressure belt. Horse latitude, low pressure belt located around this.
No.
Horse latitude is subtropical.
Subtropical pressure.
What do we have here? Horse latitude is high pressure belt. Okay, subtropical high pressure belt is called as subtropical. Equatorial belt where we have the convergence of trade winds. Okay, so zone of wind convergence. C is the right option. Okay, that's why you have to study very accurately. Each of the words, letters that is words we can say given there is important. With reference to hot, wet equatorial climate, consider the following statement: annual range is very small, precipitation is heavy. First is correct or incorrect? Annual range of temperature equator would be? Huh?
So the annual range of temperature is typically very small, often not more than 2 degrees.
That's correct. Equator, you do not have temperature changes that much. It remains almost in the same range. Okay, overall, if you look at uniform this average temperature. Precipitation is heavy and well distributed throughout the year with a characteristic pattern double rainfall peaks coinciding with equinoxes, right? Because during equinox sun is directly above equator, maximum insolation, maximum convection, maximum rainfall. So second statement is correct statement. Third is the daily rhythm of climate involves bright and sunny afternoon followed by heavy convectional downpour in the evening. Correct? How is it correct? What is the time when rainfall occurs? I told you exact time. 2 p.m. That is when rainfall starts. 2 p.m. is evening or afternoon? Huh? Since when 2 is evening? 2 is afternoon. So third is incorrect. Okay, that's why I said you. Many time what happens? We are excited. We just look at this. First part, daily rhythm of climate involve bright and sunny afternoon. Yeah. Right. Go through entire this statement. Then only think about it. Even if you know that, feel that you know about it, you have 100% surety about it. Still give some time. Okay, a few seconds, few minutes. So what is the correct option? 1 and 2. A. Then with reference to tropical climate, consider the following statement. Tropical monsoon climate is characterized by seasonal reversal of wind. Okay, that is the definition. Onshore wet monsoon in summer, offshore dry monsoon you have in the winter. Okay, southwest monsoon and northeast monsoon. Tropical marine climate is found along the eastern coast of tropical lands and receives steady rainfall from trade winds all the time. This is true. The southern tip of Africa, for example, okay, it is very, very conical in nature, and all the year what do we have? No matter whether winds are moving from this side or this side, they are bringing what? Moisture along with themselves. That's why what do we have here? Steady rainfall throughout the year. Okay, understand? If you try to think like this, Africa, draw Africa here. This region. So this region is what? Very narrow, right? So no matter whether wind is moving like this or whether wind is moving like this, if we talk about this part, will they experience rainfall throughout the year or not? Because this wind is also bringing moisture, this wind is also bringing moisture. In case of India, however, this is not correct. Why? Because sea is only from this side. When the wind is blowing like this, moving like this, what do we have? Entire area is dry except Tamil Nadu, which receives from Bay of Bengal. So it is due to the shape of African continent, South American continent also we can say. South America also has this kind of shape in the southern part. Conical shape. So no matter whether wind is moving like this or wind is moving like this area would keep on getting rainfall from both sides. So that's why it's correct. So what is the correct option? Both 1 and 2, C. Then we have consider the following statement. In summer, southeast monsoon wind from the southern hemisphere are drawn toward the Indian subcontinent as southwest monsoon. Correct. Okay. Southeast trade wind, I told you, it is nothing but Flon's dynamic concept. Okay. That is what they are asking about. The intense heating of the great land masses of the northern hemisphere, such as Central Asia, create a region of intense low pressure. That's why monsoon trough basically moves in this area. So A is the right option. Then savanna type of climate, savanna or Sudan grassland climate. Transitional climate by an alternate hot rainy season and a cool dry season. That is correct. Highest temperature typically coincides the period of highest sun in mid-summer. Okay, no, that is incorrect. Highest temperature is before summer because in mid-summer rainfall start. If rainfall start, what will happen to temperature? Decreases because of two reasons. One, surface is now cooler, and second, because it is rainy season, the entire sky is covered with dark clouds. The solar insolation would not be able to reach the surface. So that is also we see in case of India also to some extent. Maximum temperature is not in the peak mid-summer, okay, like June. Maximum temperature is recorded when? In the case of May, end of May, early June as such, before the rainfall begins. So A is the right option here. Then we have the many savanna areas have poor lateritic soil which are incapable of supporting good crops. Okay, that's why, because what do we have in savanna? What kind of landscape? Grasses. So that's why what do we have? Good crops are not supported here. Soil is very, very poor. Grasses can only be supported. Climate with its distinct wet and dry period is responsible for rapid deterioration of soil fertility. Okay, this is true. And the reason is, in the soil of India, we have covered this concept. Right? When you have heavy rainfall, okay, what happens in the soil? Leaching. So all the minerals, lighter minerals and all, they are going below the surface. Upper surface is only, what do we have? The iron, aluminium, this kind of heavier compounds are left which are not fertile. So same region you have in savanna also. The deterioration of soil fertility is because of distinct wet and dry period. heavy rainfall, and in this dry period, what happens? Capillary action comes into existence. So the soil has higher salinity also because salt particles are brought up to the surface as such. So what is going on? Nutrients are being removed from the upper layer, and also salt is being deposited in the dry period. Due to this, what will happen to its fertility? Deterioration. So what is the correct option? A. With reference to again Mediterranean type of climate, consider the following statement. Primary cause of this climatic type is the seasonal shifting of wind belt. Okay, that is true. Basically, what happens? Suppose this is the Mediterranean area. Okay, suppose this region. This is your Mediterranean belt. Now in summer, what happens? Summer, this area experiences northeast trade wind. Why? Because on the upper part of Mediterranean you have a subtropical high pressure belt. In the lower part of Mediterranean you have equatorial low pressure belt. Right? That's why this belt is a what? Northeasterly trade winds. Now we know that pressure belts are not exactly always remain at the same place. With shift of sun, it shifts northward and southward. In winter, what is going on? Sun is moving south. So all this pressure belt shifts to the south. So if you draw the condition for winter, suppose this is again your Mediterranean belt. In winter, what happens? The subtropical high pressure belt reaches somewhere here. And this side, then what do we have? Subpolar low pressure. And which wind is blowing here? Westerlies. Right. So what is going on in the case of Mediterranean belt? In the summer, you have northeasterly trade wind. In the winter, it is experiencing westerlies wind. That is why which year will or which month will bring rainfall in this zone? Here you have land mass all time. So this winds will be coming from land mass side. That means dry wind. This wind is coming from the ocean side. So westerlies bring rainfall. In which month? Winter. That's why in Mediterranean zone, what is the rainy month? Not summer, but winter. So different than India. That you can keep in mind here. So primary cause of this climate type is the seasonal shifting of world's wind belt. The most outstanding characteristic is the concentration of its precipitation in the winter month from onshore westerlies. Right. So what is the correct option?
C.
So that's the correct option. Both 1 and 2, C. Landform associated with wind action in desert environment. What are these? Easier, I think. Pediments and mushroom rock as such. So 1 and 3. A. Horns arrates are glacial landform. Drumlins also are glacial landform. Okay, so second and fourth, you don't know, you should know. Second and fourth is the glacial landform. 1 and 3, they are the desert landforms. So A is the right option. Then warm temperate eastern margin climate, consider the following statement. Gulf type in southeastern USA have less pronounced monsoonal characteristic and a narrower temperature range due to maritime influence. Yes, because Gulf of Mexico is there. Okay, so due to this maritime influence is strongly observed. Gulf type name comes from where? Gulf of Mexico. Right, so that is why maritime influence obviously will have. Natal is in South Africa. Natal type in the southern hemisphere is characterized by complete seasonal wind reversal similar to Asian monsoon. No, basically here only one is correct as such. Seasonal wind reversal is seen only in the monsoon climate as such. Wind reversal is not in Natal type. China type of climate experiences a great annual range of temperature with bitterly cold winter. In winter, a steep pressure gradient is set up between the cold interior of Mongolia and Siberia and the warmer Pacific coastlands, causing a cold, dry continental that is correct. And both. Okay, so basically what we can say, A is the correct option. So basically you have the change of wind movement. In the winter, what happened? The continental interior becomes very cold. You have development of high pressure. And over the ocean, you will have low pressure. Why? Simple concept, differential heating of land and water we have discussed. Land heats up faster, slows up faster. Water heats up slower and cools faster. So winter, which is hot, which is cold, land. So wind move from cold interior toward ocean. In summer situations will reverse. Okay, in summer, which is more hotter? Land. That means there you will have low pressure. Water will heat it less. There will have high pressure. How is it moving? Ocean to land as such. So that is why annual temperature range becomes very high. Temperature difference becomes extremely high here. So A. Then we have 37. British type of climate, adequate rainfall distributed throughout the year. True, because westerlies are continuously. Britain is what? Island, and it is The region where westerlies wind are flowing. Westerlies wind are continuously flowing from sea to land. If they're continuously flowing from sea to land, they are bringing continuous moisture. That means rainfall will be distributed throughout the year. That's why in London, they is saying that you cannot say, okay, you cannot go outside without any umbrella, okay, because you'll never know when rainfall start. Okay, in morning you have very fair weather, good weather, sunny weather. Suddenly after few hours, the entire sky get covered with clouds. Why? Because westerlies are bringing then cloud. Slight maximum precipitation tend to occur in summer due to convectional sources. No, that's not correct. In winter, most of rainfall in London, in UK, is in the winter month due to cyclone formation, temperate cyclone. What direction are they moving? West to east. Okay, so try to think like this. Throughout the year, all time westerlies are causing rainfall. But in winter, you have development of what you can call as the temperate cyclone there. Okay, because that is when you have this meeting of cold air and warm air. So in the winter, you have more rainfall maximum. Annual amount of rainfall is heavily influenced by relief, with windward slope receiving significantly more than leeward slope. Okay, that is correct because you have the Scottish Highland and all. There you will have higher amount of rainfall. So what is the correct option? 1 and 3, D. Okay, in this particular case. Consider the following pairs of karst deposition landform. Karst is limestone, okay, areas. So stalactite we discussed already, hanging from the ceiling. Stalagmite rising from the floor. And I told you in last class also, if both of them join, what do they form? Pillars. So all of these three are correctly, no, sorry, 3 is wrong. This is wrong. Pillar is when a stalactite and a stalagmite meet. That is when they create pillar. Sinkhole and doline do not join together to form pillar. They form uvalas or polges. Okay, that's what they form. So what is the correct option? B, only two pair. Pillar is stalactite plus stalagmite, not this. Then we have the Highland glacial. Corrie, steep horseshoe-shaped basin form the valley head. True or false? Cirque, Corrie, yesterday we have discussed. At the head, I told you what is happening. Large depression develops, a steep-sided wall forms here. Arete, a deep vertical crack at the head of glacier. True or false? False. Arete is peak. Okay, basically the seesaw type of peak. This that is given here is definition of a landmass. A landform that you will find. It's called as Bergstrand. Okay, so the definition that is given here is of Bergstrand. It's not of arete. Right. Pyramidal peak, sharp pointed peak formed by cutting back of 3 or more cirques. Okay, that we have discussed. Horn basically type of. Tarn, what we have discussed? Tarn Lake, where we find Tarn Lake? In the cirque or corrie. So what is the correct option? 1, 3 and 4. How many pairs? 3 pairs. 3 pairs are correctly matched. Then unlike typical karst region, chalk landscape generally do not develop extensive underground cave network due to friable nature of the rock. This is true. Okay, because entire upper part collapses simply. So for cave formation, what you require? Intact. Okay, you should have intact upper part. Karst regions are characterized by abundant surface drainage and thick fertile soil cover. True or false? False. Okay, there cannot be abundant surface drainage because it will go down. Okay, they keep on eroding, or we can say this solution happens of the rocks. And where do they move? Right. So most of the drainage here is not at the surface but below the surface in cave-like structure. That's the uniqueness of karst. So big waterfalls or river stream movement, where would you see? Not on the surface but inside the cave. So what is the correct option? A. Okay, only one is correct here. The first statement is correct here. So then glaciated valleys are typically trough-like and U-shape. Yesterday we have discussed. That is the difference. Rivers form generally V-shape. Glacier form U-shaped valleys, broad floor, smooth steep side. Glaciers cause tremendous erosion through abrasion and plucking due to shear weight. We have discussed yesterday itself that the weight of glacier is so heavy. Abrasion and plucking, basically they remove the rock and then carries them forward. So that's the correct option. What is correct? This correct option? A, B, both, 1 and 2 both are correct. So C is the right option. Intrusive igneous landform. Where they are developing? Below the surface due to magmatic cooling. Both sills and dikes are formed when molten magma cools and solidifies within the Earth's crust. Correct. Sills are formed when magma is injected horizontally, whereas dikes are formed when it is injected vertically. We have drawn the map by this diagram also. So what is the correct option here? D. Okay, neither 1 nor 2. D. Then arrange the falling gases in decreasing order of their share in atmosphere. Is very simple. What is the correct answer? Decreasing order. 4 2 1 3. 4 2 1 3. Argon, carbon dioxide, no. Oxygen is highest, right? Descending order. So, which is having highest concentration? Oxygen. Oxygen, after that, what do you have? Argon, then carbon dioxide, then hydrogen. Okay, so 2, 4, 1, 3. That means which option? B. Okay, B is correct. With reference to steppe climate, consider the following statement. It has less maritime influence. Okay, true, because far away from sea, in the central part of continental landmass. So that's correct. Presence of deciduous trees. Do they have tree or not? No. It is completely grassland. Presence of local winds like fawn and chinook. Okay, so that you find in the grassland. For example, in the prairies. Okay, see here also, if they say simply steppe grassland and then they give fawn and chinook, then that would be incorrect. Here, what is the term mentioned? Climate. So though steppe climate we are using, that means we are considering all the area, prairies areas. Okay, you have the alpine areas and all that, meadows. So that's why, what is the correct option? 1 and 3, C. Okay. Deciduous trees are not found here. Then cloud. Cirrus cloud are formed at high altitude and have feathery appearance. Okay, high altitude feathery appearance, right? Where they are found? High altitude cloud, beyond 6 km of range we have discussed. Cumulus clouds look like cotton wool with a flat base and exist in patches. Okay, this is also true, we have talked about it. Third is stratus clouds are black or dark grey and are formed at middle levels or very near to surface. Black or dark grey we cannot say. Okay, it is light grey in nature. Okay, plus also it not from mid level and or very near to surface. That is cumulonimbus cloud we can say, or nimbus stratus. So 1 and 2. Okay, B is the right option. Then 46. Twinkling of a star is due to internal reflection of starlight. True or false? Why we see twinkling of stars? Do stars twinkle or not? No. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. In childhood you had studied about this. So why it is twinkling? Because light is coming and it's refraction, not internal refraction. So atmospheric refraction is the reason behind it, not reflection. Okay. Internal reflection is even that this incorrect. So atmospheric refraction, because see, when the light enters the atmosphere, you have the colder air and then you have warmer air near the surface. You are in the warm air zone, for example. So when the light passes from cold air to warm air, density changes. If density changes, what will happen? Bending you will see. That is why refraction happens. So due to this reason, basically twinkling is observed, right? So warm and cold air, because of the difference in temperature, difference in density. Then we have, because twinkling basically is, what is twinkling? Twinkling means that, twinkling basically means that you see that a star is here, after some time you see that star is there. Okay, there, like this kind of. You cannot fix your gauge that this is exact position where a star is. Why? Because imagine that example we have taken in class about the glass and you have the water here. If you put a stick and look from outside, how do they look? Appear bent as such. Okay, imagine this is going on continuously because they are continuously emitting light as such. Okay, so what you will see? This kind of movement. So this is what we call as twinkling in case of star. The apparent shift in the position of sun during sunrise is because of atmospheric refraction. This is also correct. Okay, basically suppose this is horizon. Okay, you are in the coastal areas and what you are seeing, that sun is going down. So sun has gone down, but still you are able to see sun here actually. Why? Because still they are sending light. Light comes and then refracts. Okay, again because of the change in density. So for couple of minutes we can say you are seeing sun in the horizon or above the horizon, even though actually it has gone below the horizon. Okay, so sun you are able to see, but it is not there actually. Okay, so that's the region, atmospheric refraction. That's why there is a saying, okay, do not trust your eyes. Many times what you see do not exist there. Then 47, context of landform development due to water action, erosional action of water. Simple. What is erosional action? Valleys. Then what do we have? Plunge pool. These two are depositional landform. Okay, when the sediments are deposited by the flowing river, what forms? Fans. When it comes out from the valley as such. Point bars in the course itself, we We have discussed about the islands and all that is forming. Sandbar we have discussed in class. So valley plunge pool is basically this kind of structure. Suppose from a plateau a river is flowing and then it forms waterfall and descends here. When it is descending and it is striking this surface, it has certain force. Due to this, what will happen? It will erode this surface. So it will not be plain. What would you see here? Kind of eroded kind of depression that will form here. This is what you call as plunge pool. Okay, water moves like this there. So valleys and plunge pool, both I told you in class this chapter 7. Okay, it is given all in NCERT class 11th. So you should have to go through one. So what is the correct option? A, 1 and 2 only. Then a warm summer with offshore trade winds. A warm summer with offshore trade wind, concentration of rainfall in winter with onshore westerlies, bright sunny weather with hot dry summer and wet mild winters and prominence of local winds. Which of the following type of climate is best described in the above passage given above? Which one is the correct option here? Just discussed. That's all you have to look here. Which climate we have discussed this situation taking place? Mediterranean climate, right? So forward already. Just discuss that Mediterranean climate. What do we have in the winter? Subtropical high pressure belt is here. Subpolar low pressure belt is here. Which wind is moving? Westerlies wind, right? So onshore westerlies in winter as such. Local wind, prominence of local wind itself should be what you can say indication, because in the local wind chapter where we have discussed majority of local winds, which area? Mediterranean area, Sirocco, Mistral, Bora and all that, right? So what is the correct option? D, Mediterranean. 49, again same. Cirques, arid, Bergstrund. Bergstrund we have discussed. What is the correct option? Simple, landform glaciation. Consider the following statement regarding hot wet equatorial climate. Diurnal range of temperature is very small, but the annual range of temperature is high. True or false? False. Both diurnal and annual range is very, very small. Double rainfall peaks coinciding with equinoxes are characteristic feature of equatorial climate. True or false? Correct. Okay, we have discussed spring equinox and autumn equinox. Sun is directly overhead equator. That's why you have the highest amount of rainfall. So what is the correct option? B. Okay. Diurnal range means daily range. 24 hours, day and night. That is diurnal. So both is smaller. So that's the correct option is B. That's the